Well, hello everybody. Hope you're all doing fantastically well. I don't know about my counterpart here on the counter clash.
Counter clash.
Not a good start, is it?
We're gonna start rapping.
I'm I'm buried at the minute. I'm down under Undertaker settings. I am ill, so don't worry, everybody. I've had a Barocca. I've
Nice.
had a honey and lemon. And I've
Nice.
got another honey and lemon and paracetamol as well, so I might have to be carried through this by Joe Wayneman, I think. Joe, I don't know if you've been unwell, mate.
I'm not too great myself. I'm suffering from a broken heart as well as a bad head, mate. So
He's brought it to YouTube. Oh, Jeremy Kyle, love it. So yeah, mate, what's going on? How have you been?
yeah, okay, mate. I'm all right, actually. Yeah, I think. No, I'm doing okay, bro. Leeds United, that'll keep me busy, won't it? We're starting to see a little bit of stuff today. I mean, we got Diego Llorente done, not done, done again this morning. I swear the YEP are getting sold duds left, right, and centre from the club. We've had Alex Cairns. I need to get your opinion on Alex Cairns because I think the outcry on social media is wild. It's a third choice keeper. People are like going, "We lack ambition. This is a joke." I'm like, we did need to replace Klassen, who was garbage and potentially had the worst haircut I've ever seen, worse than Liam Miller's. So, and that's one stipulation.
I thought you were going to say worse than mine, you cheeky git.
No. Yours is okay. I cannot talk, bro. I cannot talk. I've got an upside down head. So.
Yeah, it's. I think. Yeah, that's obviously. I've been away. You've been away actually for a little bit as well, Jay. You've just come back onto it. So when we got back onto the scene, I think we expected a little bit. I don't know, a little bit more of a hub of activity, I guess. But I guess what it is, Joe, at this moment in time is it's just these outgoings, and it feels like it's outgoings, and. To be honest, I don't mind it as much because it's like you're getting your house in order before you're actually, getting bits in and deciding where you are on the map, really, when it comes to Leeds United. But yeah, I guess we'll get into Cairns. There's rumours this morning, obviously, Roberts. I mean, Sam Rodon has pretty much turned into, Fabrizio Romano for Leeds, point two. He's just about sort of tweeting everybody saying you almost like, eyes emojis. And
just on that yesterday. I was sat on my stream and I went, Gianluca Di Marzio, the Italian Fabrizio Romano. And then someone reminded me afterwards, like, only you would say that. And I thought, what's he on about? And then realised, oh yeah, Fabrizio is Italian.
Where do you think he was from? Blackpool?
No, I knew he was. I don't know why. Yeah, he's basically the Italian Fabrizio Romano, I think.
He is, though, isn't it? It's like I'm just reading the chat as well. Everybody's saying it feels like Sam Rodon is the guy who's just breaking all this stuff. But it's so I tell you what, let's touch on that first, Joe, in terms of the local journalists and what's being fed to them. Really, I think obviously. Me and you've spoken off air, and I've spoken to people, on here, dribs and drips and drabs, sort of about when I met up with the 49ers representative, and it's so interesting because it wasn't sort of insinuated that they were going to stop things from going to local journalists, but I think I've had a chat with you off air as well, and we've had I've had a bit of a discussion with Gabe about it as well. It is very much like it felt from that discussion very much like, it's not happening the way it used to do. And that's why I find this so interesting that it's almost playing out like that. It's as if, we know Rads used to drip things to his mate, Fabrizio Romano. I think they were pals, weren't they?
Yeah.
But it always used to get out to the local journos, didn't it? And I kind of, in a strange sort of way, being sort of from that world as well, feel a little bit sorry for them at the minute because they are just getting absolutely nothing. And I think that's a purposeful tactic from the 49ers, mate.
Yeah, I think it was bang out of order the way they trekked Graham Smith around the Gray deal, if I'm being totally honest. Like, and it was quite interesting that they gave him the I forgot which deal was it they gave him. Didn't they feed him the news on the Tottenham deal? I can't remember now. It's a bloody week. A lot happens in a week. But yeah, I do feel like it's clearly a ploy. They want to keep things in house, but yeah, I think you've got to keep your local journalists on side. To be honest, because they're the ones that are there week in week out. They're the ones that we all rely on.
It's such a hard one for them as well, as in it, because it's like if they've got to be careful, because if the 49ers sort of alienate them a little bit, is that gonna influence? It shouldn't, but
of course it will. It's quick to
like
turn, isn't it?
Yeah, these sort of like opinion pieces maybe that are going to be maybe a little bit more. Could they be a little bit more harsh if we've been speculative? However, if they do that, then the 49ers can quite easily just go, well, you're not coming to press conferences then. Fine.
Yeah, no, there is that as well.
Got to be careful.
No, 100% you do, mate. It's they need to be, but then again, like someone said to me, you can't have it both ways. 1 minute we're happy that we're keeping deals quiet, and then when it's involving outgoings, we're like, we want some more news. So, yeah. I mean, they're doing stuff with Mini-Meter and that. I mean, I guess that's a plus. You know what I mean?
Be nice, wouldn't it? Be nice. Hello. Honestly, my day would be made if they just did like a nice little YouTube. A nice little YouTuber 11 aside. That'd be nice, wouldn't it? Ellen Road or whatever. I'd enjoy that. That'd be nice. Yeah, mate. Okay, well let's talk about Alex Cairns. And you mentioned it right at the start. Yeah, Salford's keeper, third keeper. It's very sort of, as a transfer story, it's very sort of underwhelming. 31 years of age, started at Leeds. Yeah, mate, and obviously was part of the setup for quite a while, then was let go, and has done well in his career really to build it up. I think he went to Fleetwood, didn't he? Then he went to Salford, so he's done well. He's stayed in the football pyramid. He's coming in as the third keeper. He's been at Leeds before. He's a York. I think he's a York-based lad. To be fair, I think he went to a school near me. But yeah, nice lad. And yeah, I just think to myself, well, he's from the area. It seems like a little bit of a no-brainer, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's an easy deal to do. Like you say, he's clearly happy to come in as third choice as well, which is something that can be difficult to get. Like when people talk about, we need a young keeper and that, man. I mean, we've got a lot of young keepers coming through the ranks, to be fair. So I think Klassen will just plug a gap. Cairns will plug a gap for a period of time. I just think the outcry sometimes is needless.
It doesn't make sense though, does it? Because it seems pretty clear that he's coming in as a third choice. So I don't understand why there's an outcry, really.
Yeah, I know, but hey, this is football in 2024. I think. Like, can I get your? Because again, I was quite surprised at the. I know you asked me if there's anything I want to talk about, and there wasn't really. But now this has just come to mind as well. Like, Kamara, because I was quite shocked and surprised at the readiness of what people on Twitter, and I know that's not everybody, were ready to sell the guy. And that really took me aback. And again, it were like, you need goals and assists and all that. And I hear it to an extent, but for me, I'm a bit like, there's more to like... That's quite wild, isn't it? There's more to someone's game, though, than just goals and assists. I think he played a massive part, and I would be reluctant to sell him, Connor. I didn't see any of your videos, if you will and no doubt spoke on it. But what's your opinion on it?
I think it's... I don't know about you, and we get this in football, and I get it. And me and you've covered the transfer window for forever, it feels like. I mean, the rumour mill's been going for about 5 years now, it feels like. But I feel like every time I do it, and every time you do a live stream in and around this period, it's all about, if you've got the sort of like mid players who aren't your stars, it's like if you get rid of your stars, you're in big trouble. The mid players, you can move on as long as you're bringing shiny new toys. And I think sometimes people have got to take a step back and actually look at the contribution that certain individuals have made this year. Like Gruev isn't my favourite, but when you look at him, there is a reason Dortmund were looking at him. There is a reason he played at Bundesliga level. And he cost us, £6 million. He's a good player. Glenn Kamara has played European football. He was a mainstay for Rangers for a number of years. His profile isn't a goal scorer. His profile isn't to get assist after assist after assist. But I think, there's got to be a little bit of development there when it comes to the coaching of the lad. I think he's got it in his locker. He's a good technical footballer. So you would that would maybe align to him being good in the final third as well. I think, he's very silky on the ball. I think press resistant. We all love that, don't we? But he is very press resistant. One of the very few in our team. I like Glenn Kamara. Would he be a bench option if we're to stick with the current formation and bring others in? Maybe, but it's a very, very good bench option.
Yeah, and I think you're right. I mean, look, we had a look on one of my shows. He scored 6 goals at Rangers, and he was there for a few seasons. It's not his wheelhouse. It's not his game, like you say. But what I would like, people saying get another midfielder, he's easily replaceable. We would not get someone better than Kamara in the division that we're in now, second season in the Championship. Not for me, for what he gives us.
And for the money as well.
Yeah, for the money.
We paid, what, £5 million? Yeah. You're not going to... I think, I don't know if you're getting this as well, but I am getting the vibe at the minute that get rid of Perot, I've seen, get rid of Kamara, I think, not get rid of, but, it was easily replaced, but Gruev, and I've sort of gone on the Gruev one a little bit and said, look, I do think he is replaceable, but the thing that you can't really measure, Joe, when it comes to it is these players have acclimatized to Leeds. There is an option, there is a probability that in their second season they'll get better. That's normally what happens. Joe Rodon, second season might get even better. That can happen. I think just that these players got us into pretty much a top 2 position for a long period of time during the season. So that is what we've got to look at. We can't just always think, oh well, we didn't get promoted, so let's get rid of these toys like Toy Story, just dropping them. We've got to keep a bit of continuity, I think, mate. But do we need to add in the midfield position? Yeah. I mean, is there going to have to be some movement there if we do add in that position? You'd expect so, wouldn't you?
Yeah. No, definitely. And we do need a new number 8, a box to box, similarly to what Archie Gray would have given us going into this season. I think that's what we need, a replacement for him. Of course, like I've said, and I'm not like disputing the fact that we need more goals from midfield, 100%. But I think Moscow said this on Square Ball. It's like the reason we were so great defensively as well, Kamara played a massive part in that as well, right? So it's like a trade-off that we had. And look, yeah, we do need more goals from midfield. I don't doubt that fact. But I think that as the window's gone on, I'm more like, I just want a new number 9, Connor. I think that's where my head's at the minute. Yeah. We need fullbacks. Let's see what happens with the wingers, but I do still think Somerville and Nonto will go. But I would really like a new number 9. And I've always sort of been quite combative with viewers of my show when they go, we need a 20-goal, 30-goal a season, man. And you actually look historically, and not that many people achieve them numbers. It's very good numbers in terms of scoring goals. But this season, I'm in that camp. And I know you might not agree, but I've spoken with others, and I think Sargent would get 25 plus goals in this Leeds United side in the Championship under Farker. I'd like someone like that. I know this might, this will probably not go down well, but and I know it's not happening, and he's got issues off the pitch, I believe, as well. But, when you've seen Sam Rodon saying, oh, you're Ollie McBurney, and he was just doing it as a laugh. I don't think there's any validity to that Ollie McBurney stuff. But I even look at that and go, I think it's an improvement on what we've got if Joseph doesn't start and doesn't get minutes. And I know that won't go down well. I can see people mentioning Sargent now, so that Ollie McBurney will go down an even bigger lead balloon. But I think I just want a new striker. Even I'm now, as a Bamford fan, I just want someone who's a gunman, who's just going to go bang, 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 bang. Every time, a bit like Adam Armstrong did last season for Southampton.
How would you sell that to? How do you think they'd work around that with Peru?
Yeah, I think Peru needs to find a place within the side, and I don't think it's a 9. I think he needs to grow into this 10 role that Fark had earmarked him for. It's clear that that's where he's seen him. If we look at his time at Swansea, I know you've spoke about it before. He never really was a 9. Look, history tells us I think he played about 50 games last season, and he played once well in the 9. Once, and that was against. When you look back at it now, a terrible Norwich side in that game at Elland Road. But outside of that, he was not great. So he needs to find his role, and I still think that's a 10. Under Farker at least. I don't see him being the 9. Bamford needs to not play nowhere near us minutes. Obviously, he's still going to be with us because he won't be sold. Joseph needs to be given minutes. I think, again, I don't see him starting the season as much as he would maybe as a 9 or off the left. I've seen him off the left before, and I think he can do well there as well. But I think we need someone we can really put our faith into and know that when they go through one-on-one, they're going to find the back of the net. And we don't really have that, Connor. And we haven't for a while.
We haven't at all, mate. I think the free agent market is looking decent as well. You know, I mean, the loan market we've got to look into. We've absolutely got to look into the loan market. But I mean, once again, right now, I'm not sure how this is. I don't know if he still is. And I know you probably keep up on general a little bit more than I do. But is Chadham's technically still a free agent? Is he a free agent right now? I don't think Wolves have done anything. I don't think Forest have done anything yet.
I did see on Twitter the other day that he was open to going back to the negotiating table with Southampton. So I think he didn't get the offers that he probably felt. Yeah. And if Southampton probably feel, well, yeah, we'll take you. And they'll probably be able to offer him even reduced terms or something a little bit less than he'd originally thought he was getting, because he's having to go back with his tail between his legs a little bit. But yeah, I mean, Che Adams, yeah, you know me, I'm a fan of him. But yeah, I don't know. I'll have a look, mate, on the news, but I think it might, I think he might be staying with Southampton now, you know. But I think even sometimes with this free market as well, we get a link to like players like Bobby Decordova Reed and that, and I'm like, it's just never happening, is it? They're not dropping down to the championship.
Be nice though, that wouldn't it? Be a really nice time.
Yeah, unbelievable, mate. Yeah.
This
is where as well, the 49ers, Jordan Miles, Greta Steinson, all of them, they need to prove their worth now. This is why, as well, especially with the whole Grey saga and that, I'm even less... I wasn't willing to give the ownership and Farker a long leash anyway this season, because I felt that, you know, after last season we need to be there, front and centre. But after the Grey situation, the way that it wrangled me, I'm a little bit like, right, the leash has got even shorter now. So you need to be fucking on it. Do you know what I mean?
Is it still burning for you?
I'm just. Someone asked me the other day, "Are you buying the kit because it's red?" And I went, "Well, I'm not buying the kit." No, do you know I've not bought a piece of Leeds United merch since the Bielsa thing, and I used to buy them every year. You used to call me Ty. Do you remember you used to call me Ty, right? Do you remember though? And I'd have all the gear, and I've not bought anything from the club since then, because I just got really angry with them. And then I felt like the 49ers was a continuation of the previous regime, and then last season I was like, no, okay, I'm on board. And then this summer happened, and I'm a bit like, oh, nah, you dicks. But I probably will buy that yellow kit, which I think's out towards the end of this month, so that's going to be something special. Maybe that'll sort me out. I don't know.
Yeah, the blue one that has been rumoured looks nice as well, doesn't it?
I think it's going to be more charcoaly pink, this third kit again, bro.
Yeah,
I think that's just a mock-up. From what I've been told anyway, I think... Do you remember that charcoal pink one? And everyone hated it, and we all bought it. I think I bought it. I think you got it. I think it was one of the fastest selling. So I think they've looked at that and gone, let's make something similar. So I think it might be like that again.
I've got a real obsession, mate. That's the big problem with football kits. I've been the same since I was a kid. It's like I go anywhere. If I go on holiday anywhere, like I'll get a kit, like not like shin pads and all, but like a
walking around on holiday on beach with shinnies on.
Mate, I spend so much money on like football shit. I don't know why. I don't know why. It's just always been a thing since I was a kid. So yeah, it's a bit of a nightmare. But yeah, I agree with you, mate. I think it's one of those where, I mean, with the incomings right now, it's it's all outgoings, isn't it? I mean, we're still thinking to ourselves, you know, we've seen Somerville in that bloody training kit, and suddenly it's like, oh, look at that. But I don't think, you know, this is going to rumble on towards the back end of the summer. There was discussions last week about him apparently talking to Arne Slot, PSG interested as well. And I said something similar on Twitter. I just said, look, let's say, Joe, right, hypothetically, if a bid came in, let's say Brighton went big for Rutter, right? Staples summer signing. If they went big in for him, like 35, 37 million quid, right? If someone came in big for Somerville, offered 35, 40 million, just as a club in general, can you really even turn that down? It is massive money. I don't even think teams in the Premier League, a lot of them would turn that sort of money down.
No, I did, because I did a Rutter vid, and everyone would... everyone would go, Connor said we've accepted a bid of 37 million. I was like, I've not seen that. Then I checked your title, and it was 37 million ? And I'm like, no, he's asking you as a question. Could he go for 37? And I spoke on that and said, like, at what point Like, do they do that? Because they would have to have a conversation. You're right, mate. Obviously, I don't want to sell Rutter, and I don't think the club would want to sell Rutter. But there does come a point where, of course, Championship, selling at the highest value. I think they probably feel a little bit burnt with, say, Nonto, because they could have sold him for what they did last summer. He didn't do great, and now they're looking at less than that. And I think if anyone stays, bro, he's probably the most likely to, if we can convince him to, because I don't think Leeds United will accept a derisory bid for him, which is what it would be based on last season. Somerville still goes for me. I think the good thing is at least the club now are in a strong position because of the Gray sale that we can say, give me 35, give me 40, and we'll have a
It always feels quite high now, doesn't it? It feels quite high, the bids.
Yeah, definitely, yeah. If they accepted 30, I know that might sound wild, but I'd almost be like, oh, you know, you should get more.
Who for that?
For Somerville. Yeah. I think maybe if Rutter was towards the end of his contract and this FFP PSR, they might have even considered it, bro. But I just think, for me as well with Rutter, and I think he has the scope to really, if he could finish, if he improves that side of his game, his worth would be absolute insanity. Like, imagine Rutter last season, who got like 18 assists. I think he had one of the highest XG like comparative to his goals. If he'd have got them goals, genuinely, what would we be expecting to get for him this summer? It'd have been off the charts, bro. It'd have been off the charts. So,
and there's bits in build up as well, isn't there? Where we've looked at him this season, we've actually gone. It's been like, oh my god, like so. Remember when Rafinha did Cahill? And it's those moments, isn't it, where you've looked at Rutter this season and gone, how's he done that? How has he done that?
100%. Yeah, it's wild because I'll tell you, I was watching. I was on Twitter last night and there was a Xavi compilation from one of the World Cups, and I sat and watched it, bro. And I realised that when I was around that time, and I didn't used to watch football the way that I watch it now, and I think a lot of that is due to doing content and stuff like that, and I just was able to appreciate him more now. I don't know why that is. I don't know if it's getting more. So when I do see Rutter doing mad things, I am a little bit more appreciative of seeing them things now than I previously ever was. I came to that conclusion last night. I was thinking, why weren't I enjoying it as much back then? But I guess when you're doing it as work, you get more in tune with it. But you are right. There has times last season where I've gone, oh my god, oh my god, and it was the same with Gray. Like, I remember Gray, like, when he'd be in the right-back position, for example, and managed to ride a tackle and then 1-2 it, and he'd be that, and I'm like, fucking hell, how has he done that? And Rutter's the same. Rutter could, sometimes he'd make the wrong decision, but he would pick it up in defensive areas, go this way, go that way, and then he's away and we're on an attack. I remember the Huddersfield goal. I think it was one of the quickest goals we scored that season in transition, and it was phenomenal, bro. So I think he did score at Hoffenheim. So if he can do that at Ellen Road in the Championship, I think what I will say for him, bro, he's going to have to go up a level this season. And what I mean by that is he's going to be earmarked for special attention. We've seen that happen to Somerville. And I just think people will be more aware of what he brings. So he's going to have to deal with that physical side of things. He's going to have to improve there and know that he's going to get, smashed into a few times, so we'll have to. Especially
if Somerville goes as well, the attention's just focused on Rutter, isn't it?
Exactly,
build up wise.
Yeah, 100%, mate.
Mark says, "Are we creating a team squad just to get out of this league, or are we actually building a team for the next 4 or 5 years?" Tough one. Some players quoted. It seems very short-term minded, which worries me. I guess it's difficult, Mark. If you're just your donation, mate, but if you're projecting us to be in the Premier League, let's say next season. If that's what you're saying, how can you really build a squad right now to get out the Championship and then almost be ready-made for the Premier League? I think you've got to invest in the youth. You've probably got to keep hold of players like Matteo Joseph, players with like really high potential. I presume when you're saying that 4 or 5 years, you're meaning players like Somerville, Rutter, Nonto. The thing is, Mark, and I'm sure Joe will holler at this as well. The big issue is we're a Championship team, mate. I don't really think any team can really do that where we are now, especially with the difference in money between the two leagues and the difference in caliber between the two leagues. I don't know if you can do that anymore, Joe. I think you have got to really build for the short term, and that's the sad side of football nowadays, really.
Yeah, Farker says it a lot, doesn't he? Short, mid, long-term ambitions, and they have to weigh them things up. We've made some very, very good signings. You would argue Ampadu rode on their long-term, right? If you're looking at someone like Liam Miller, if that's genuine, it's more of a short-term, mid-term kind of vibe. Is he gonna make that grade to the Prem, or would you be looking to replace him after a couple of seasons if we did go up? Probably. So they have to weigh all these options up. Definitely, Mark. But look, for me, it's all about getting out of the division. And then if you have to go again, you have to go again. You don't want to do a Forest, of course, where you just go up based on loans, and then you're like, shit the bed. We need to replace everybody again.
Do you think, Joe, that's why there's probably saying, why there's a rumour going right now where it's like 1 or 2 out, 1 or 2 in. But I think when they say 1 or 2 out, they're more basing that on big players, like your Archie going out. And maybe if a big offer comes in, Somerville or whatever, and 1 or 2 coming in. Yeah. I'm kind of hoping the 1 or 2 in isn't, and this is just, this is, they're not going to do loads of business. I think we're aware of that. And keeping that continuity is big.
How many do you think they need? Because I said at minimum, I think we'll get about 4. And people were like, wow, we need 8. I don't know how you feel like, bro.
Yeah.
Because as it's going on, I'm like you. I don't think they're going to do much.
No, they won't. I don't think they will. I'm convinced they won't. But I think third keep. I think it'll depend on who goes, won't it? As well, it'll be like for like. But yeah,
if we lose 2 wingers, we'll bring 2 wingers in.
Yeah. I think they'll stick with Peru. I think they'll stick with Bamford. I think that'll happen. I think Joseph will be part of it as well. I think it'll be that 3. I think you're right with Nonto or Somerville. I think one of them will stay. Rutter, I think he'll stick around. Kamara, I think he'll stay. I think Greve will stay.
Yeah.
Archie obviously gone. So really, when you're looking at it, I don't think Melee is a big one. I don't think he's going to go, which has influenced my thinking on things as well. But apparently, De Zerbi likes him. Don't know if there's any real truth in that. Yeah. But as I say, so it's very dependent on who goes. Your Melee goes, we're obviously going to get a new number 1. But I think, right now, mate, 4's probably a good number. And that, I think you bring someone like Roberts in, Connor Roberts, Rodon, then you got 2 Cairns, then what? Another maybe a I don't know, centre midfield. I don't know, but yeah,
we need. Next signing has to be a right back. We need a right back ready for pre-season. Have to. I think we play Harrogate in 10 days or whatever it is, right? Yep. And I know that'll be under 21s or whatever, but at this rate, that's going to be the only time Leeds fans are going to get to see them in pre-season. So they're probably going to have to placate the fan base and play some of the first team players, I think.
Yeah.
So we need a right back in ASAP. We're going to need a left back. Because by all accounts, Junior's allowed to go to the Olympics, so he's going to miss parts of pre-season, and God forbid if he gets an injury, then, we don't have a left back. So we definitely need right back, left back. That has to happen. I think everywhere else, like you say, maybe a replacement for Gray in midfield. Everywhere else isn't as, must happen now kind of vibe, I don't think. Right back, left back, and a midfielder, I think. But that's that needs to be done ASAP. I don't know. I think it depends on outgoings, like you say. I'd love us to surprise us and go get a 9 and go get a new number 10 to go alongside Rutter and Aronson. But I don't know, bro. I'm a little bit less sceptical than I was. Graham Smith did an article where he said that Farker was pretty happy with the spine, which I'm okay with, but I don't know. As a fan, you just want a little bit more, don't you? I wouldn't mind some more.
It's always felt that with Leeds, hasn't it? It's always felt the same. It's always felt the exact same. It's like I wish we could do a little bit more, and it's not even us being greedy, is it? I always feel like there's a position whether or not it's centre mid or right back or striker. It's always sort of, or Cam.
There's always
Cam
some positions, isn't there?
Cam was the big one, wasn't it? And that's where you got to look at it. And I've just seen Manjeet speak about it there. I hope it's not anything like this, but you do wonder. And I mentioned this on the video, and I want to get the chat's opinion on this because I've not been on live stream in about a week, and yours as well, Joe. But Christensen, is he going to be an option? And the reason, I said this the other day on a video, I genuinely believe Aronson and Christensen, they've said to us that Aronson in particular has rejected bids from Germany, the top league. I don't understand why you do that. in my opinion. That's probably been a little bit skeptical, but I don't understand why he'd do that. Playing in the Bundesliga, he's got no ties with Leeds whatsoever. Yep, he's contract bound to us, but why would you turn down a top league Bundesliga offer? He said that the discussion around it is he wants to stay at Leeds, prove himself, and get Leeds to the Premier League or whatever. All this sort of lovely PR around Brendan. All of a sudden,
of course,
I'm a little bit more of the thought process of, and I mentioned it yesterday, of he's probably looked at Somerville, his agent, his representatives, Leeds. Probably looked at Rutter, probably looked at Gray, probably looked at all these examples right now who've boosted their valuation. They've played pretty much every single minute of every single game, and they've been on the crest of a wave, really. I think Aronson's looked at that and thought, right, well, I could go to Germany and play 10 to 15 times a season. It's probably not going to work out again. Or I could drop down a level, be one of the better players in the division, if that's been sold to him, or that's what he thinks, and then my value could go up. I then could get a bigger move, I could get a better move, or I could play with Leeds in the Premier League. And I reckon genuinely that's what Leeds have convinced him on as well, because that's the only way I think Leeds get money back for him, or any money back for him whatsoever, because this trial period where he's going out to the Bundesliga, I don't think even if we keep doing that across this period of his contract, is going to work at all, mate.
Yeah, no, I know. But listen, everyone's in it for themselves kind of vibe, let's be honest. I think if Aronson comes and has a barnstorming season and gets us out of the division, he can go. I'm not arse, bro. Do you know what I mean? Like you said, I sometimes have to back this off we're a championship club, unfortunately. If you look over the last 2 decades, that's what we are. That's what we are. And people do use us as a stepping stone and all this kind of vibe. So we, unfortunately, we have to accept that fact. And I can't blame Aronson for looking at Somerville and seeing what he's done, and his agent probably saying something the same, because let's be honest, it didn't work for him last season. I have to agree with you. It's a lot of propaganda. We see it even with transfer dealings. 1 minute, the club are telling us the bid was this much, and then Betis are telling us it was this much. It's somewhere in the middle. Both clubs trying to get on it. I just want to reply to someone in the chat, if possible, mate, as well, because I wanted to get your opinion on this. Obviously, everyone hates Bamford. We know that. It's a bit like everyone hates Raymond or whatever that fucking show's called. But Philip keeps saying, we need to get rid of Bamford. We need to get rid of Bamford. We have to get rid of Bamford, right? I want to have a conversation about this, because if Bamford spent all season on the bench, I think people would still be angry, right? It's not easy to get rid of Bamford, because if it was, he'd be gone, right? First and foremost, who the feck is buying him, right? You can't just tell him, we're going to rip up your contract. Just to put numbers on it, folks, right? He's still got 3 years left. His total gross pay over that course of that contract is almost 11 million. Okay, so if you were to say to Bamford, right, mate, you're going to have to go, we're going to rip up your contract. All right, well, I want paying off. Okay, 11 million, that's what that would cost you, just because of how much he's on. Who's buying him? If you can tell me who's actually coming to buy Bamford, like those that are saying it's not difficult to get rid of him. It is. It is. How do you get rid of Patrick Bamford? Where's Patrick Bamford's level to you, Philip? And for those that say he's rubbish, fair enough. Where's his level then? Are we saying he's lower end Championship? Is that, or do we think less than? So let's say he's League One even. But let's do him. Let's be fair and say, okay, he's bottom end Championship. Which clubs at the bottom end of the Championship can afford to buy Patrick Bamford and also pay for his wages? No one.
Yeah, exactly. And as well, Joe, just to add to that, he had a contract extension in 2021.
Yeah. Yeah.
Obviously,
he's got
we know
3 years left on that, bro. 3 years left on that.
He's got 3 years left. He's 30 years of age. That's going to take him to 33. He was on 74 grand a week in the Premier League. He obviously, as a lot of them did, essentially cut it in half when they went down to the Championship. But Pat Bamford is still pulling in 40 grand a week. Right. Yeah. So this is what we're up against. That he's got another 3 years left on his deal, which takes him to 2026, where he's 33 years of age.
Yep.
Who in the right, excuse my French, fucking mind is going to pay him anywhere near that money?
And Connor, if you're Patrick, if you're Patrick, are you leaving? When you've just said there, this contract takes him till he's 33, which is end of career. It's end of career. Yeah. Isn't that end of career? So he's basically got a wage set now till he's finished, right? So which club is then giving him what he's got currently? You have to weigh all these options up. So I don't listen, and people are saying it's awful business from the club at the time. Look, with hindsight, yes, right? With hindsight, yes. But at the time, he got an England call-up. He got 17 goals in the Prem. There was talk of Tottenham even looking at him as a bench option. At that time, there was. So the club tried to protect themselves. With foresight, it was a bad move, right? It was poor. But you know, but Darren subsidising his wages, facilitating his move away, all that stuff. Again, that's at a cost to the club. You know.
Yeah, there's probably
and then you have to replace him.
Yeah, it'd have to be
in an ideal scenario, sorry, Connor. In an ideal scenario, he does not play a single game, and people would still be annoyed. People would still be annoyed. And Philip, when you come in with crazy statements like he's not a striker and all this, yet every single manager's played him in a striker. I don't know what you're talking about, bro. Maybe you should go into management and play him as a right back or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I guess by Ricky said by the time his contract expires in 2026, he'll have been here 8 years. I mean, it's a lot. It is a lot he's done. I mean, I've never been as up on him as Joe, and that's the opinions in football, of course. But I think at the end of the day, the club extended his contract for till 2026, giving him a 5-year deal. That's not the 49ers' fault, and we know whose fault that is. And them getting into sentiment FC. I understand he had one England cap at the time, but look, flipping heck. I mean, how streaky that boy's been throughout his entire career has been staggering. But look, yeah, I think it's going to be really difficult for Leeds to do anything in that striker department. So yeah, like we've said, Joe, that'll take him to 32. I think it's not 33. Take him to 32. Burrow's on a decent contract, we know that, but Pat Bamford been on 40 grand a week, does make my toes curl a little bit, and I think that's probably why, I mean, you're going to have someone like this on the bench, do you know what I mean? He's going to be on the bench picking up that sort of money. He's been at Leeds nearly a decade, which, there we go.
Do you know what as well?
I'll tell you what though, Joe, in 2 years though, mate, his contract, he'll be able to have a testimonial.
Do you know what the mad thing is though, right? We've just sold Llorente for what's been reported now as 2.5 million, right? 3 million euros, whatever it may be. We paid 18 million for that guy. Like, it'd be the same for fucking Pat. But people would go, yeah, I'm happy about it. He's just gone. He's gone. But then you also have to factor in from a business standpoint, folks. You then need to, you need to then replace him. And all these factors have to be taken into consideration. I just don't see it as an option. For the club. Unfortunately, no one's going to buy him. If someone would buy me, I'm up for it. I'm not sitting here as custodian of the Bamford fan club saying, no, he's got to stay. I'd love to replace him. I've just told you all I want a new striker. But sometimes you have to sit back and think, is it realistic? Is it realistic that someone and people that are saying it's easy to sell him, tell me how. Give me the solutions, and then we'll have a look at it. Because if you know that, then why don't the club know that? If you know it's that easy of a sale, then why hasn't it happened up to this point?
And this is, Joe, this is why as well. You've got heart and head need to be separated, mate. And sometimes I come on here, and yourself, you've probably come on and gone, bloody Connor's been a negative bastard when it comes to Bamford or Melier and all this sort of stuff. But and I think I'm a little bit more cold with it. And I think me and you are definitely of the opinion of you're probably, definitely your heart's
more emotional, yeah.
Yeah,
no, yeah.
No, do you know what, mate? I wouldn't even say it's emotional. I think you're a fan who really, really, really gives every single player a massive chance, and that's credit to you. I'm a little bit more cold with it. And when Bamford was banging in those goals by his status or whatever, in January, and he came in, he was changing how we were playing, scored that wonderful goal against Peterborough. I was coming on here, mate, and I was saying, get rid of him now. Get rid of him now. A big bid, just whatever, 5 million, 6 million quid. Someone come in for him, lower end Premier League club, don't know, whatever, well, I guess we were upper end Championship, but whoever needs someone and he's going to panic right now, a relegation threatened club, they're going to panic right now, they need a striker, whatever, get rid of him now. And this is why, for me, mate, it's so important that, form is obviously going to change our opinions. I get that, but that player for me invariably isn't going to change from what they were. So I think when the stock is high, you've got to sell. Melee keeping 19 clean sheets. Is that going to happen again? Probably not. Stock is high, got to sell. I think that's how I would maybe encourage people to sell if they've got an opinion on a certain player. And form does play into it, of course, but we've got to be hard at some points here. And I think that's why I come on out and say that quite a bit, mate. To be honest, he's the perfect example.
Yeah. There probably was times when we could have pushed the button. Do you know what I mean? But I just think that time's now passed, hasn't it? And we have to accept that he's probably going to see his time out with Leeds United. I will be very, very shocked, and I will, eat my own words if the club can find a buyer and stuff for someone like that. But it's not happening. Look, everyone wanted the same with Cooper, for example. Guess what? While he was under contract, no one bought him. Now he's going to leave out of contract. And that's ultimately, so, you have to as well put yourselves in these footballers' shoes. At the end of the day, like Connor's just elaborated, like if this contract takes him to almost retirement age, he's sat on a nice little nest egg. I know he's got cash and that anyway, and everyone goes, yeah, but the professional footballers, but it's all relative, because what they spend is what a professional footballer would spend comparative to what we would spend on our weekly shop. Theirs is totally different comparative to the rent they pay or the mortgage they pay. It's all comparative. You know what I mean? So
it's relative.
Yeah, relative. Sorry. Yeah. So yeah, but I can't really blame Pat. I blame the powers that be that gave him that deal.
Yeah, of course. And like with Bamford as well, if you're getting to 30, you'd want to be going to a club, and you've seen this on podcasts that you've watched, Joe. I certainly have. When they get to 30, 31, it's not really about like a mass of money for them. It's about having a contract tied up until they're like 34, 35, because they're thinking it's money coming in, and that continuity needs to happen. Really,
like we'll have probably offered Cooper an extra year.
Yeah, and it's not good
extra
enough.
Year, and exactly it's not, because he goes, right, well, if I do a year, barely play, then what? No one's going to come for me. Well, it's now been reported this morning he's got 3 offers on the table from Championship clubs. They'll be offering him 2, maybe 3 years. 2 with an option. Leeds wouldn't give him that. Leeds will want to go straight back up, so that, because let's be honest, if we'd have gone up this year, he wouldn't have even been offered a deal. But he's been offered a deal as someone to sit on the bench, basically. And a great character around the place and all that. And he's not accepted it. Jamie Shack, the same, they've not accepted it because they can go somewhere else and at least get, longer term contracts, probably on better terms.
And that's why, Joe, I'm talking about Firpo a lot on my videos as well. He's got 12 months left on it. 12 months left on his deal. Mark was talking about the 4 or 5 year plan going forward. If we are to be in the Premier League, we've seen him in the Premier League. Look, I get it's different management. I guess it's more. I get it's more consistent now and all this sort of stuff with Daniel, but it might not be. Who knows how the season starts? We'll wait and see. But I think this is where we've got to be careful here, because we're in this situation again with a player who's a little bit streaky, a little bit injury ridden, 12 months left on his deal. It's a very Bamford-esque situation, isn't it? I think what the 49ers have got to do here is be quite careful with what they do with Junior Firpo and not form does have to play a part in it, of course, because form's how you earn contracts. But if we're projected to be in the Premier League, Joe, next season, and we give him a big bumper contract again, because obviously he's only got 12 months left on his deal, it could work, but it might not as well.
Do you think there's a possibility that they don't offer him and just let him see his contract out? Because I've still got a sneaky suspicion. They're getting us a new left back, and the reason I say that is because he's been allowed to go to to the Olympics, and that means he misses quite a large part of pre-season. So they're either going to allow him to see out his contract and just come back as backup and hopefully get a new one, or they're going to tell him, well, if you're away and you can find a new club, crack on, mate. Do you know what I mean? So it's going to be interesting to see what happens there, because I agree with you, because we have seen him at Premier League level and he got found wanting, and the Premier League is stacked with right wingers. Let's be honest, there's some of the best in the business that play on the right hand side in the Premier League. Your likes of Saka, Salah, and Go. So he got found out there. You know me, though. He's had one good. I'm like, yeah, give him another crack at it. And I couldn't stand the lad, mate. But I just think he was great towards the back end. But I probably lack that at times. Business side of it when actually players are doing well. I don't know. Yeah, maybe.
I guess it's that thing of as well of like, I think we forget sometimes because we do, we've done well in the Championship this season. It's like, we step up to the Premier League and it'll be fine. But I think that 16-year absence when we went back up with Bielsa almost gave us that sort of false pretense that when you get up, you're going to have a really good season and then it might be difficult, but you can consolidate.
Yeah.
I think what people fail to recall is how ruthless and quality that division is. And even since we've been down, which will be a second year now, the division gets better and better and better every single year, mate. It's frightening how good it is. And if he's out of position, which I think we know this season he's been out of position or whatever, and he's not they've not punished us. I remember even on that side against Blackburn, there was a couple of times where Schmodix actually got through on his side and Blackburn fluffed the chances. Like we've said, mate, you know if that's Son, if that's Salah, if that's Saka, it's 2-0. And the whole Monday Night Football episode, if we're playing on Monday night, is focused on Junior Firpo's position. And it's the difference of both leagues, isn't it? It's brutal.
Yeah. No, 100%. You're right, mate. I'll never forget, because it was on my intro for so long as well, was that Spurs game, last game of the season, man, we fucking made one error in the first 30 seconds and they were 1-0 up. I was like, fucking hell, this is where we've come. One error, bam. Oh, okay. Everything we worked on in the week, all this sort of stuff, it just went in whatever it was, minute, 2 minutes, and that's how quick it changes, man. You're right, mate. It's an unforgiving league.
I remember Kane. I think it was when it was the game where Bielsa got sacked and we'd had 20 shots and Spurs had 20 shots as well.
Yeah.
And I remember just watching Kane and he had something like 3 or 4 shots that game, Joe. And I'll always stick in my mind because he hits it, doesn't he? It comes across him and he whacks it with his laces. Yeah. And he hit the post. He might have scored one and then 2 whistled past the post an inch. And you're thinking, this guy is unbelievable. He's world class, and it's the strike, the ball striking ability of him, and you're just thinking, this is the level, this is the difference. And it's a league of which you get there, and if we do get there, touch wood, we're gonna have to, it's gonna be, and we're talking this pre-season out of it, it's gonna have to be 3-4 years of scraping to stay there, really, and that's what we're gonna have to get used to. And because we're such a big club, and me and you are probably the same. You get carried away, don't you? It's like, come on, we want to develop now. Want to develop. I remember that Bielsa season. We finished 9th, and people were predicting we were going to finish 5th the next season.
bro, man. Yeah, that me. I was like, sign me up for that Champions League.
But I also think it's when you've been out of it for so long, which we were, and then we went up with Bielsa. You were like, we've acclimatized to this, but you realise afterwards, it's like, fucking hell, this is just brutal.
Yeah.
So
it is, mate. It is. You're right, and I look at say Brighton. They flirted with relegation for a long time, didn't they? Yeah. Chris Hughton, and then they had
Potter, didn't they?
Potter, and then look where they are now, and had Europe last season. I think eventually their bubble will burst, but it just shows you how important recruitment is, and that's where we fell down, unfortunately. We didn't give the manager we had the tools, and then after that, the sales of some of the star players was pish. In terms of the monetary value and the players we got to replace them were just not. So recruitment is so important, and we just got that all wrong, and. Yeah, we have to ensure when we go up next time that we have to get that right, and hopefully the 49ers can. I mean, they got it right last summer. Would you say they did? Didn't they? With the players they brought in, for the price we got Ampadu, and now they've started. Look, I know people are still, there's a lack of incoming, but they've started well with bringing back Rodon.
Yeah.
That's a good start. It's a very good start. But we've got to see some more bits added as well of quality that can get us out of this division. I think, look, mate, I don't know what your opinion is, but Burnley, Scott Parker, I'm buzzing with that. I was worried. I genuinely was worried about Van Nistelrooy. You couldn't be more far removed from what company was doing to then bring in Parker. He's so fucking boring. So
I'm surprised he didn't do Bellamy. I'm really surprised.
Yeah, well, he's staying on in the coaching staff, isn't he? But Parker's got the top job. I know he got Fulham up. But them teams were stacked. Mitrovic, man. Anyway, imagine having someone like him in our side, bro. A killer like that. A Mitrovic in the Championship. Mental. But yeah, Burnley, I'm not overly concerned about. Sheffield United are mad. Like, when they... Look, I love Shaq, but it was like, the rebuild begins now.
Oh, no.
And that first signing was Shaq. I was like, oh, God. I've spoken to a mate, and I think they've got one striker who's played like 6 times and all this. No one's re-signed. You know, they had one of the defenders going to Sheff Wednesday, for example. I've been more concerned about Wednesday than I am
100%.
United. I think Luton will be good. Luton will be good. They recruited for the Championship while in the Premier League, so they will be really good. But outside of that, mate, I think it's a bit more of a free-for-all. So I'm hoping... perform like we did last season, will be front and centre. So there's no excuses, bro. No excuses, and that's even from me. September, I want us in the top 2 at least, and that's a month into the season, unless something crazy's happened. But nothing crazy should be happening because we've had now, and the messages from the 49ers, you know, we've had everything sorted. It's not like last season. We got the manager. We'll fucking prove it.
Well, it was like, were you right as well, because we throughout that period last we got Farker in late, didn't we? And then the signings came in late. We didn't really get, you know, the backroom staff were sort of intermittently coming through, weren't we? Steinson and Hammond, and we'd heard about, and it was all this sort of big thing, and it was all just a little bit up in the air. We were all I think it felt like the 49ers were all figuring out about the loans as well whilst it was going on. That's what it felt like. It didn't really feel like it was something they were completely privy to. So now they've got full pre-season. Farker will have a full pre-season. No excuses from him as well, by the way.
No, I agree, mate. I'm on the same as you.
Yeah. Full pre-season for him. They know the Euros. They've known, obviously, the Euros. They'll plan for that. Yeah. Miles has been in since January. And the interesting bit, Joe, is going to be that start. That is a very tough start, isn't it? It's a really tough start for us. That so yeah, I think we're going to be tested straight away, because not that there are going to be there might be high flyers again like Leicester and Ipswich who just literally somehow are able to get point after point after point after point. But even if it's a bit of a stagnant start from the others, what you don't want is is Leeds sort of, you know, starting as we started last season.
No, you're right. That's what I'm saying. We have to be. We have to be front and centre, man. Like you say, I know it's tough that first few games, but Leeds for me have to be the favourite going into next season. We have to, and we have to prove that from minute one. You know, we can't have a stop-start. We've got to be on it, because we've got continuity as well. We've got continuity. The newly relegated sides don't really have that. Yeah. So, you know, we've got that on our side as well, and we have on paper, regardless of what some in the chat think, the most successful manager at this level in terms of win percentage and getting teams out of the division. He's done it twice before by winning the league. I'm expecting the same now this time around. So we have to do that. And if it isn't working, then they need to change it, and change it quick. We can't wait around, I don't think, because if you think this season's bad, like next season, all my days we'll be up shit creek without a paddle if we don't get out of this division.
Yeah, I swear content's going to be a bit difficult, isn't it, mate?
For sure.
Yeah, okay, mate. Well, as you said, you mentioned the Liam Cooper thing. I've just seen that now. Someone's tagged me in it.
Where do you think he ends up, mate? Somewhere, I don't know.
Have I said it to you? I don't know why. I've no idea why. I just think Derby.
Yeah, do you reckon?
Yeah.
Somewhere like Stoke, Middlesbrough, maybe even.
Borough's a good shout. Borough's a good shout. Ailing having a quiet word.
Yeah, he might not want to move as well. Yeah.
Are there any sort of teams that you're looking at outside of the ones that have come down and thinking to yourself they could be a bit of? I'm sort of
Wednesday.
When Danny Roll. Yeah. I can't believe they've managed to sign him. I can't believe that. I actually couldn't. I thought he'd be gone. I thought he'd be in the Bundesliga. I thought he'd be gone. Can't believe they've managed to get him. But yeah, Wednesday are a good shout. I think Coventry again, it's the recruitment every single year is absolutely superb. could be a problem. You wonder with Sunderland as well. Are they going to be able to keep hold of their key men and add on to that? Obviously, Reggie's as well, or Reggie. I'll call him.
Reggie Labrie. Yeah, that's going to be interesting, isn't it? Because obviously we wanted him when we were in the Prem, and obviously had a bit of a fall off. But I think there was a lot of mitigating factors to that. So it will be interesting to see what he does there. Actually, you're right, mate. To be honest,
definitely. All right, mate. Well, we'll leave it there. Well, thank you everybody for tuning in to the Counterpoint. There's 1,800 of you in the building, which I think is our record numbers for the show. So make sure you slap a like on the video, everyone, before you leave. It just gives me and Joe an indication that you're enjoying the Counterpoint. We'll be on Joe's channel next week. His link, the channel name is in the title. So head on over to Joe's show, which is fantastic, and I'm sure you all watch it anyway. And let me just read it. Hull want Greaves, apparently. Sorry, Hull want Cooper. He could be a replacement for Greaves. Interesting. But yeah, guys, we will leave it there, and we will see you on the next show. Cheers.